It was another hot summer day for Police Sergeant Gary Morales as he patrolled Fort Pierce, Florida. At about 9:30 in the morning, Sergeant Gary initiated a traffic stop in a high drug traffic area. As he was calling in the stop, the driver stopped, exited the vehicle, and began firing a handgun in his direction. Before Sergeant Gary had a chance to unholster his weapon, a bullet had already taken his life. As the driver continued to fire his weapon, another police officer arrived on scene and fired back at the driver. The driver then decided to get back into his vehicle and drive away, but he would crash into a tree 3 blocks away. Witnesses would identify the driver as Eriese Tisdale. Eriese was a repeat offender for drug charges, and it wouldn't take very long for the police to find him and bring him in for interrogation.
Now my present life is gone. My former life.
What do you mean by that?
I'm here, basically, and so meaning that when I say that is basically I'm aware of the road ahead of me.
Look, buddy, you told the deputy that you came down with it. We don't know your story. That's what we're here to hear. Okay. We want your story. That's all.
My story is I don't have a license, and basically I have a baby on the way. My girlfriend is pregnant, and I just went to the store just to get her something. The officer came and almost cut me off with the lights, kind of rammed me and tried to stop me or whatever, and I just didn't stop. And then by the time I did stop, he was like, "Get out of the car," and I was like, "For what?" And then other things happened. I'll just leave it at that. But
he was in his car. He was out of his car.
He got out of the car. First he kind of pulled me over. He kind of forced me to pull over. And then he got out of the car and was like, "Get out of the car." You know what I mean? He was like, "You didn't see the lights, get out of the car." And I did get out of the car. I left. And then...
Because you're afraid about your license.
I was afraid about a lot of things. But...
That's what I want to hear. That's what we want to hear. What was you thinking? You know why he was stopping you?
That's... Maybe because he was dreads, black guy in the neighborhood. Maybe he didn't have any kind of... nothing he can look for. Maybe he didn't have nowhere to be. Maybe he thought I was suspicious. I don't know. But I seen lights.
Did you feel like he was harassing you? Is that what you're saying?
Basically.
Okay, I got you.
Basically, that was the whole thing. It was. I was doing nothing. I came from the store. I was driving.
What road were you on when he got behind you? Canna? Okay. You headed towards US 1?
Mm-hmm.
Or headed the other way?
Headed towards US 1.
Okay. What store did you go to?
I was just going around towards by the 7-Eleven. Went in and then when I turned around, he was coming, and it was he was by the church over there on Canner, and he made a U-turn. And
you weren't drinking or nothing. You hadn't been doing nothing wrong, right? Is that no drinking, no drugs? You weren't driving erratic, right? So tell me what do you think he pulled you over for? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I have no idea.
Were you wearing your seatbelt?
Yeah.
The tags on the car all good, up to date?
He didn't even get a chance to see my tag.
No.
By the time I turned in, he was coming this way, and he made a U-turn.
So you think he just kind of saw
I
you?
don't know, maybe I was just driving a little too, maybe I wasn't, maybe I was just,
yeah, right.
I had a window open, I was just driving and he, whoop.
Tint on the windows, loud music, nothing.
That's probably the thing, no tint, window was down. Hey, black guy riding around, old school, Corolla, you know what I mean? Hey, let me just check him. Let me just see what's going on here. And, like I said, I don't want to incriminate myself for anything because...
Yeah, we understand.
It's basically...
Eriese claims that Sergeant Gary had no reason to pull him over and that he had been profiled. It's true that sometimes officers will see someone who looks a certain way, driving in a known drug area, and they will use any excuse possible to initiate a traffic stop. Their goal is to stop a crime before it takes place. In that type of situation, a good lawyer will show that the traffic stop was not valid, so all evidence taken after the fact should be thrown out.
That's what happened, I didn't do anything wrong. Well, basically, I didn't approach him. He approached me for a random reason that didn't have anything to do with traffic violation. It didn't have anything to do with driving the wrong way. It didn't have anything to do with, you know, me doing something outside of what I'm supposed to be doing on the road.
Right.
That's all that happened.
And all he said to you when you got out of the car, get out of the car, did you see the lights?
He put the lights, get out of the car.
Like on a speaker thing?
No, he got out of the car, was like, get out of the car. Like, he pulled me over and was like, you know, he's like, get out of the car. And you know, I don't have a good, somebody forcing me to get out of my current place is not something that works well with me, you know what I mean? First, you know, and that's, I'm just leave it at that. So I wasn't doing anything criminally wrong. I wasn't, you know, I wasn't doing anything criminally wrong. I wasn't doing anything traffic violation besides, you know, like I said, I'm working on getting my license. I'm getting a DUI, taking a DUI class, or well, not DUI, but like the traffic class to get my license and everything situated. But I was working on it. I've been paying tickets, and you know, I just went to court last week. The judge was like, okay, when you bring that paperwork in, you know, you're fine. So I mean, I'm not really supposed to be driving.
But it's only a misdemeanor.
Yeah, a misdemeanor.
Right?
And
no, I mean, you had no drugs in the car. You didn't have anything to be worried about. The worst thing he could have done is give you a ticket for a misdemeanor driving on a suspended license, or I guess you could take you
the
for
worst
that.
thing he could have did was
Arrest you for that.
or said, what the hell are you doing, get out of the car, and shot me down, or anything, or...
Tell me, that's an interesting comment you made. Tell me why you think like that.
The detective wants him to elaborate on how he felt as he was being pulled over. The goal here is to show that not only was Eriese not doing anything wrong, but also he was not in fear for his life. This shows the jury that he had no reason at all to take Sergeant Gary's life, and that he is just a monster.
Because you know, it's not alright, I'm gonna say it like this, and like I said, I know you're probably recording. Are you guys recording?
Yeah, of course.
I have respect for law enforcement. I have respect for, you know, authority, but it's just, danger is danger. If you feel that you're in danger, you're in danger, period. And I'll leave it at that.
Now, I didn't see him. I was not even nowhere near him. I didn't see you till I walked in here. It's the first time I ever saw you. I was 30 miles away when all this went down this morning. How was he dressed?
Like an officer.
He was in his uniform? He wasn't in like raid gear like Cash would wear or anything like that?
No, I seen a gun. That's what I seen.
Okay, was it in his hand or in his holster?
I just seen a gun, man. I'm gonna leave it at that.
When he walked up to you mean?
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
That's, you know what I mean? Like I said, certain things I will answer, certain things I won't.
Okay, we
lawyer,
respect that.
You know, but
all you gotta do.
Tell me what am I charged? What am I charged?
All you gotta do is tell us whenever you don't want to talk. I want to make sure you're clear about that. We're just trying. You told the deputy you want to tell your story. We want to give you that opportunity.
That's all. The only thing to my story is I'm here and I wasn't doing anything criminally wrong.
I mean, I'm looking at you. You're sober. You know, I don't think you've been drinking or on any kind of drugs, right? You don't have. You have mental issues. You don't have any mental health, right?
No mental.
And you're smart. You go to high school?
No, graduated in 25.
Well, I know. I'm not saying now, but did you go?
Yeah, I graduated high school.
Where'd you go to high school?
At William T. Dwyer, in Jupiter also.
A Dwyer grad.
The detective is showing the jury that Eriese had not been drinking or using any illegal drugs, and he had not been diagnosed with any mental health issues. This shows the jury that he took Sergeant Gary's life with a clear mind, which is much scarier than someone who had committed the same crime because they weren't in the right state of mind.
Now, what are you doing up? How long you been up here?
For some years. Well, that's just my career. That's a long story. But
all right, Dwyer. Did you go to college too?
Am I charged with anything, or obviously I'm charged with?
Obviously, you're under arrest.
Under arrest.
We haven't exactly worked out what the charges are yet, but obviously you're under arrest.
Okay. How does that work? For like, how long will I be in here, or where will I be going?
I can't tell you how long you're going to be in here.
Is it like
then you'll be going to the sentencing county jail.
I'll be booked in as some kind of charge against me.
Why would you say murder?
Not murder, or a shooting, or whatever.
Fleeing and eluding.
Fleeing and eluding, whatever you know, attempting, whatever. That's what you didn't even tell me what I'm being detained for. It could be for driving, it could be for fleeing and eluding, it could be for anything. So obviously you're trying to put something on me, you know. So if that was the case, then you should ask why I did what I did. You know, you would ask, you know, what I did, why I did what I did, or whatever. You know, I don't know what you detectives like to ask because you haven't even told me what I'm charged with.
And we haven't asked you that. Why did you do what you did?
Because I was in fear of my life, you know what I mean, and I wanted to be able to breathe another day, or just be able to not be put in a position of like be at the disposal of another human being, you know what I mean, for something I had no. You know what I mean? I don't know. The way he approached me, man, was so abrasive. It was like, or so aggressive. You know, with all his armor and body armor on.
Why didn't you keep driving after the first stop? So you stopped the first time, and then you take off, and that's fleeing, eluding, big deal, okay? You take off. Why did you stop that second time? Why didn't you just keep going?
He made me stop. He forced me to stop. He ran my car.
Oh, okay. You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, he ran my car.
He hit your car?
Yeah, he like ran me off of the road while I'm just trying to.
Gotcha.
So, I mean,
that's why we're here. We're just trying to understand.
I know you. I mean, it's not like you're trying to help me, obviously.
No.
But I mean, you're just trying, you know, obviously, but you know, you're trying to get.
We're trying to get the facts. We're trying to get the facts. You know,
You know.
you said several times that we're trying to put stuff on you. That's not the case.
Okay.
We're trying to gather the facts so we can put the puzzle together.
Okay.
All the pieces are there. We just got to put it together. But what you got to remember that is at some point in time in the future, you're going to want to tell your story. Mm-hmm. And if your story doesn't match up with what the evidence out there shows, then that's not good. So this is the best time for you to tell your story is when it's right here fresh in your mind. Because in 6 months or a year or 18 months, you're going to be like, man, you know.
That's all I have to say is just, you know, I was in fear of my life. Period, man. All
right. Can we talk about you? If we don't talk about that for a minute, can we talk about you? Where you're living, who you're living with, your girlfriend?
I have nothing else to talk about that. It is, you know. Until y'all can tell me what's going on, you know, outside of this room. I don't know.
Well, and we're investigating. So I mean, truthfully, we don't know exactly what all's going on yet. What do you want to know? If we can tell you, we'll tell. What
am I? When you take me to the, if you take me to the county jail, what am I going to be booked, or what charges am I facing?
All right, let me. What do you think? What do you think we're going to arrest you for?
I don't know.
Just take a guess. Take a guess.
I would like for you to tell me that, please, if you don't mind.
Okay. Did you discharge a firearm today?
I mean, can you like?
Well, I'm trying to give you a clue.
I mean, I don't have a law book, so I don't know.
Okay.
What statute?
Right, let's start at the bottom. Driving with no license. Mm-hmm. Which is where the whole thing started. Fleeing to elude a law enforcement officer. That was the second step in the process. Okay. For sure. Okay. And what do you think after that?
I mean, I would like for you to tell me.
Okay. Shooting at a police officer. I mean, let's quit playing games. Shooting at a police officer. You're going to be arrested for that.
That's the charge that I'm going to
Yeah, you're going to be arrested for shooting at a police officer.
Eriese would be charged with first-degree murder, and he would take the case to trial. He was hoping that he would beat the charges, even after admitting to guilt during his interrogation.
On February 28th in the morning of 2013, this defendant ambushed Sergeant Gary Morales, murdering him in cold blood as he sat in the driver's seat of his patrol car. The evidence in this case is going to show that Sergeant Morales never had a chance. This defendant had all the tactical advantage, and he took it and decided to kill Sergeant Morales. Gary Morales and his lieutenant talked about a day or so before about the Silver Lakes neighborhood where this happened, and talked about an increase in minor crimes, car burglaries, vandalism, minor thefts. And they thought it would be a good idea to get out in front of that by doing some proactive police work, proactive patrolling, you'll hear some of the deputies refer to it as. Showing a presence in the neighborhood, being there and stopping cars for traffic infractions. And you're going to hear from a lot of the deputies that are involved in this case that they were actually out at a traffic stop, at a routine traffic stop when this happened with another person in St. Lucie County in that Silver Lakes area. And what you're going to hear is that Sergeant Morales got his group together, his team of guys that he supervised, and they talked about that morning about this neighborhood and that they were going to work this neighborhood and do exactly that, what we call proactive patrolling, stopping people for minor traffic infractions, figuring out who's in the neighborhood, who should be there, who doesn't live there, who doesn't have a reason to be driving through there. And if they see a traffic infraction that they might ordinarily let drive on by, make the stop. And that's what they were doing that day. And as I said, you're going to hear that all around this neighborhood there were deputies out with motorists at the time that this happened. The evidence is going to show, and we know that Sergeant Morales was on Canner, turning left onto Mura Drive when he turned his lights on to stop the defendant. The evidence is going to be that the defendant, about 3/4 of the way up the block, slammed on his brakes. The defendant got out of his car and took his gun, his fully loaded .45, and started after Sergeant Morales. And there was nothing Gary Morales could do. The defendant fired a shot right as he was right out the door, and you'll see the evidence that shot hit the back of Sergeant Morales' car right where the gas tank is. And then he pressed his tactical advantage. He had Sergeant Morales in the car while the defendant's getting out and shooting. Sergeant Morales, you'll hear, was having a heck of a time trying to get out. He's pushing the door open. He's struggling either with his seatbelt or trying to get his gun, trying to get the car in park or in gear. He's clearly having a heck of a time trying to get out. And as he's doing that, the defendant is running towards his open door, because as I said, Sergeant Morales kicked the door open. He's running towards his open door and advancing with each shot and fired multiple shots into Sergeant Morales.
Eriese was convicted of all charges, and the judge gave him the death penalty. Unfortunately, the laws have changed since he was convicted. Now, under the new state law, death penalties can only be applied if the jury agrees unanimously. For now, he is still alive, sitting in prison, waiting to be told when his last day alive will be. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time here on the Red Tree Crime YouTube channel.